Be out here. Exciting times as school starts again on Monday, and obviously the release of our non-conference schedule. We're still waiting on what the conference schedule will look like. That's exciting as we add 4 new teams to see what that looks like. I think we have. Joey Biggs. I think we've outdone ourselves in terms of what we put together with the non-conference schedule. I think this is by far and away our best schedule. I'm excited about the opponents. I'm excited about the games. I'm excited about the venues, and I look forward to watching our current group of guys grow as we're going to be tested throughout. I know we're going to do our part to help the Big Ten net rankings in terms of strength of schedule. Obviously, it's a heavy laden SEC look this year, and then obviously something I think very unique that we're excited about is the late February Duke game in Madison Square Garden. It'll be the first time that we have really ventured away from conference schedule while conference play is going on. So obviously to get Duke in late February is something that was exciting. I'm forever grateful for the opportunities that have arisen coming off an Elite Eight team. I think we play Tennessee, Elite Eight, Alabama, obviously a Final Four. And then who's the other one? Duke was another Elite Eight team. But opportunities come when you have success, and to be on CBS against Arkansas on Thanksgiving Day, to have the opportunity with Duke to put a great series together with Alabama on 2 neutral sites, and those things have presented themselves, and we're very fortunate to have those opportunities and very excited. I think it speaks volumes to the state of where our program is at now. So excited. You get Oakland, another NCAA tournament team who really was probably a Sweet 16 team, was very, very close to beating North Carolina State, who made their run to the Final Four, but beat Kentucky in the first round. We were very familiar with them. Arkansas Little Rock was a team that was in the conference championship game of their league, of the OVC. So we're excited about what this schedule brings, and obviously open with Eastern and SIUE, 2 in-state schools that we're excited to welcome to Champaign, but excited for our fans. The Tennessee game is a return game of the series we put together, so we get an elite quality opponent. They'll be somewhere in the top 15, I'm sure. So we'll get them coming into State Farm Center. So really, really excited. Looking forward to the challenges of this schedule and a lot of the opportunities that present themselves as we move forward into Big Ten play. We'll obviously have 2 Big Ten games scheduled in there. At some point, we don't know who those opponents are yet, but looking forward to a great season in Big Ten play, as the league will be loaded as always.
How much do you think about the net when you schedule, but also just we want to get tested?
Both, a lot. I think that there's no downside to playing those teams. I think that players today want to play in big games. I've always wanted to play in those games. I think that it's helped elevate our program. I like to think that. That's why we've tried so hard to get in those games and to get on those networks. So it's the Nets obviously. We've been a 1 seed. We were, I don't know, what were we last year? 3. I think we're, our league playing 20 games gives us some strength, but I don't see a downside in playing those games. you win some of those games, and you're in a really, really good spot.
How would you summarize summer workouts, and what are some things that please you about your team this summer?
We had a great summer. Adam Fletcher worked his magic. I think that he does a fabulous job. The guys who've lost weight needed to lose. The guys who've gained have gained. We've transformed bodies. I think that if you didn't do anything basketball-wise and just let our guys spend time with Fletch, the summers would be great. We've spent a ton of time on spacing. It's been a little bit of a disruptive summer from the standpoint we haven't had everybody yet all together. Obviously, KJ went back with the national team, the Lithuanian national team, and the U18s. Tomislav was a late arrival. Will has been here, but obviously was a late commit and reclass. So I'm excited to get this group all here and on the court together. But I've had a great summer, and we've taught the fundamental things that we want to teach. So it's been very positive. And like I said, Fletch worked his magic, which is the most important thing.
Brad, just with the schedule, what's the status of like MTEs? Do you have a preference for those versus maybe some of these home and home or neutral site like Marquee games?
Yeah, and again, it's a juggling act a little bit. I think we're in a position where we like playing top 20 opponents. I think there's great value in that, and you've got Alabama's probably going to be 1, 2, 3 somewhere in there. Tennessee's going to be ranked. Cal will have Arkansas ranked. Duke's going to be a top 5 team. There's value in those games, and it just so happens that there were some one-offs this year and some neutral sites that worked. Obviously, we've got Missouri as well, and St. Louis in the bragging rights, and they're a much improved team. So you've got. We want to try to find the balance. We always want to play a home and home or close to it as we can. That worked with Alabama. And then to be very honest, TV was an integral piece of setting some of those games. So, we're gonna do what's right and see what it feels like with every team year to year. So, just kind of the way it worked this year.
Obviously, the matchup with Duke is marquee. Is there anything else that goes into deciding to do something unique and step out of conference?
Well, it's not as easy as it sounds, really, and you've got to get 2 conferences to kind of rework some things from a game standpoint and move some things around and accommodate that. And the Big Ten on our end has been extremely accommodating in terms of trying to make that work. It's obviously going to be a Saturday night primetime game. I think it's 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, so it doesn't get any bigger than that. In the Garden, and now what those games look like before it and after it, those will be conference games. We've got to make sure that we're prepared for the before and the after of that game as well. We know it'll be. Duke's going to be Duke, and obviously, arguably the best player in the country in Cooper, and it'll be a game filled with some very, very talented young freshmen who will have grown up by then.
Well, we're all waiting for the Big Ten schedule. Are there things you want to see from that, or concerns you have about how the schedule might just be structured?
No, I think the one thing that I'm excited for is the growth. I think that this team has a ceiling that's pretty high, maybe as high as any team we've had, and yet there's some youth there, there's some inexperience there, so I think that there's challenges early. There's a lot. There's some road games, there's some neutral site games, there's opportunities for this team to continue to grow, for us to figure things out before we do hit the conference schedule. And and then I'm really excited about the Duke game, what that looks like in conference play, and can that be something that changes a seed line or two. You know, and that's what you're playing for, is put yourself in the best opportunities to win when it comes to playing in March.
What's Tomislav's status with the NCAA? Obviously, he's on campus, but is he cleared through that, or?
He is. I think he's still dealing with a few things on the amateurism side that we got to clear up, but that's continuing to move in a positive direction.
You talked about having a young team. Is it good to get them experience against some of the top teams in the country early?
Yeah, and again, I think that's it. I think it's more about us growing as a team and as a unit. I think the one thing that happens today is these kids all play high-level games. They play against each other. They know each other. So it's not so much about the talent level being that much different. I think it's more about the chemistry that we must develop as we continue to grow, and understanding how to win. That's what we do, how to win, and how tough you have to be to handle that. So I think all those things are the challenges with the young team. I love our talent. I love their work ethic, and like I said, it's just now about making them tough and making them come together and understand what winning is all about.
Is it too early to have an idea of what the identity of the team is going to be? Maybe one or two things you're going to hang your hat on?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to play the same way. I mean, we're going to play fast. We've been very diligent in trying to recruit positional size who can shoot, and we've done that. And from Ben to Carey to Tomislav to Merez gives us a different look into we haven't had in years. Rim runner, athlete, and then you had Trey, Boswell, guys that all have thickness and size, and we've made that a priority. So we've spent a lot of the summer trying to play really fast. We've spent a lot of the summer talking about spacing and having guys in multiple positions so we can throw 5 guys out there and not worry about really who, where, what. Just put them in the right spots and know that we've got good basketball players in all those spots.
Do any of the new schools bring a different style that you're not used to seeing in Big Ten play?
I haven't studied them enough yet. Dane Altman and I are really close. I've always followed his teams. I know how he plays. Dane is going to be a little bit different. He's going to press. He's going to play zone. They're going to be very, very good. UCLA, Mick's always a team that's going to grind it, and they're great defensively. We've seen some of Muss's teams in the past. Obviously at Arkansas, he's going to be athletic and long, and they'll play a certain style. So I think everybody's still a little up in the air, but I think the league is just top to bottom really good. I think we're going to see a much improved Rutgers team, obviously #1 recruiting class in the country, and probably 2 top 5 picks. I think Indiana's going to be very good. Michigan's going to be much improved. So you're going to see a top to bottom a league that's Michigan State's got a lot back. So you're going to see the same hard, tough-nosed, well-coached, a lot of really good players. Big Ten as always.
What changes as you're about to have finally everybody together in terms of what you're looking to get out of that?
Familiarity for one, for me. We haven't seen we haven't seen KJ and Will together. We haven't Boswell with KJ has been very minimal, and you start looking at Tomislav with those guys. Tomislav spent no time in any situation with KJ. So you just want familiarity, you want comfort, you want to see how guys play and react to each other. You want to see different lineups that KJ being gone here in July didn't give us the luxury of seeing this summer. So there's a lot of things out there that we're really excited to look at and from a lineup standpoint, see how they interact.
As the Big Ten schedule is still being pieced together, I guess, did coaches have input on maybe structure, or what? Did that group have any say?
Yes and no. There's parameters. It gets turned over to the computers. I think there's so many factors. You've got schools that don't play in their own facilities. You've got schools that have multiple sports in their facilities with multiple schedules. I think the one thing that's been talked about a lot is, we're only going to go west once. What that looks like. Is that still 2-day preps in between? So you're spending 4 or 5 days. I think there's been, a lot of talk about when you're coming back east, what a game on Saturday or Sunday looks like on the West Coast, and coming back, and when do you play again? We all know you lose. You lose a couple hours, 2 or 3, depending on where you're going. So I think there's a lot of curiosity. I think there'll be some things different. I think we'll see 3-game road trips. I think we may have some different things out there. I don't know that, but the computers will figure that out. And we've got the best league in the country. We're playing every night. We've got great networks that are all clamoring for our games and have contracts. So we'll play through it as we always do.
What did you see from KJ during the time he was here, and then what stood out about what you saw when he was playing for the national team?
Yeah, he's very, very gifted with the ball. It played a little different with the national team. They didn't do as much ball screening with him as he has done prior. They were a little more continuity offense, but I thought he impacted the game, and whether he scored it, I think he had a game where he had 37. I think he had a game where he's had big assist games. None of that bothers him. He's going to take what the game gives him. I think he'll do that here. I'm just excited to see him with our guys and see what that looks like. And he's an ultimate playmaker. He's a shot maker when he needs to be, and he's just got to get back to. We'll be using him in some ball screens, and they didn't do a ton of that in the U18s.
You mentioned home and homes are at least close and close. How tough are those to get as opposed to go to MSG or Kansas City?
Yeah, every team's different, their approach to them. We sell out. So I've said it all along, I always want to play big games here. I want to play big games in front of our fans. I want to reward our fans. I think that's important. I think it's great for college basketball to have them, on campus. So I'm always going to keep pushing for those, at least 1, maybe 2 every year, depending on what those look like. We're working a year ahead now, and Joey's the best at it when it comes to putting a schedule together, and so we'll always try to make sure we've got great opponents coming in here.
What's impressed with Will so far since his arrival?
Yeah, Will's really talented, and I think he hasn't been afraid of the weight room. He hasn't been afraid of Fletch getting in there. He's added some weight. He's changed his body already. We didn't have a ton of 5-on-5 time before our guys broke, but he's been here, he's been very diligent in his work. He's an unbelievable worker, I think feels like he's getting in better shape. Talking to him this morning, I'm excited to see him with again with the entirety of our group.
What's your gauge on what this team's capable of defensively? I know we talked about offense, but what have you noticed defensively through the summer? What you want to see in the fall?
Well, I think it will protect the rim better. Again, I like our positional size. Again, I say it all the time. That's where our chemistry has to be. That's where our toughness has to be. Kylan, an elite on-ball defender. Draven, elite on-ball defender. Ty's a much improved player in that area in terms of guarding the basketball. The basis of what we're doing, we've changed some things schematically because of our size, because of what we do. But that foundation is in. But again, it always comes down to guarding the basketball. And I do think we will protect the rim better than we have in some time. Kofi was different just because of his mass. But we weren't great at it last year, and I think we'll be better at that this year.
What's your schedule look like once classes start on Monday?
In the weight room with Fletch, we'll get from day one. We'll get right back into that. Then we will give them the week. We'll basically start practice. I think we're allowed the 23rd. We'll probably bump that a few days because of the holiday, and start right after the holiday, the 30th or so, with practice. But we get our individual workouts. The first 2 weeks will be small groups, and then there'll be some team mixed in there for a couple days as well. So we'll start diving right in as soon as we get back.
And Brad, saying this is potentially one of your most talented teams. You've had some really talented teams come through here. So maybe when did you know in the roster building process that this team had that potential to take that step?
It's a good question. Part of it is you look at next level projections, to be very honest. Guys that the next level like. It's nice to see us have some of those guys. It's walking off the court after the UConn game. I felt that was an area we were old, and that group was tremendous. We were a Final Four team last year that just happened to catch them in the Elite Eight. But again, setting out and getting more action guys, more guys who could do things and stay within the influx of our size and shooting, positional size. So I think we're in a really good spot there. I think that I feel good about our talent, and then I just like the fact we've got a lot of versatility with size. Thanks, guys.